we never can't not do nothing, and today I'll make a video showing how to patch a punctured tube or to fix a flat on a bicycle. I've already made the video showing how to remove a wheel, how to remove the tire and take the tube out, and how to find the puncture. So this video, I'll link that video in this video's description so that you can see that if you need it. And in this video I will just show how to repair the punctured tube. So I'll move the camera so you can see what I'm doing and we'll get on with it. Alright, here we have a tube and I've already found the place where it is cut. Here it is. This is a rather serious size of a cut. It's not just a puncture, the tire really got cut. And this is borderline, here this is my small finger, just for reference. This is about borderline size of a puncture that can be repaired, in my experience at least, and I'll show how to do it. For repair we will need some sandpaper to make sure that this is all nicely prepared for fixing, and I'll explain that a bit later. And we'll also need some glue and some patches, or a patch. This is what I use and recommend, Rema Tip Top. I'm not selling it, but it works most reliably. So the first thing to do is we need to get rid of this, like from molding tire, this ridge that is a bit higher, because it will not allow the patch to hold on to this. And I need to prepare the size, the area that is the size of the patch. So I need to spend some time sanding this down. Alright, this is now reasonably well prepared. I've got the ridge taken out around the puncture, and I've just roughened the rest of the area, because when it comes to sanding, the most important thing is to make sure it's all flat so that the patch can be nicely glued and hold. There's no way for the air to escape. If I had left that ridge, it would have went through that, because the patch is a bit harder and it wouldn't fit as snugly. So that needs to be flat, and the rest of the area around it where the patch will go just needs to be roughened to remove the outer layer of the tire, but not need to do it too much. So now I'll just clean it a bit and we'll put some glue. Okay, now to distribute it around the area nicely. Okay, now we need to wait for 5 minutes for the glue to dry. It is not advisory to put a patch until this is completely dry, so that when you touch it with your least dirty finger, it does not get stuck. So it's now, we'll get back in about 5 minutes. Then we will put the patch on. Okay, let's see how we are doing now. It's usually better to wait longer, just to be sure that the glue is completely dry, and of course make sure that it does not get any dust or dirt stuck on it if it's windy or something. And I'm just testing now, it looks dry, and now we need to put a patch. These patches come like this, so I will just peel this part off, trying not to touch it and contaminate it with my fingers. And now I can place it over the puncture. Making sure there's no air trapped inside. And here I did not do a very good job on this part. Hoping it will hold. Now pressing it tightly against the tire, and it should be ready to go now. There's a way, at least on these Rema patches, to remove this if you wish. I usually leave it on, but if you wish to remove it, you can gently remove it from the end, but that risks taking and peeling this off. especially when it's just put, when it's brand new. If you leave it for a day, there's no risk, but the way to do it is to bend it like this, and it will crack in the middle. Here you can see it. It's got some sort of preformed or pre-cut section in the middle, so that you can do this and it comes open, and then you can peel it off from the middle going to the outside. I'm not the best at doing this without blocking the camera, but this is the basic. Okay, and so we've got it, and now we can pump the tire up and see if it holds air, perhaps even put it in some water to see if there are any bubbles. It's always good to test before putting it on a bicycle to make sure that it is not leaking. This should suffice, and now I can just put it in water to make sure it's not leaking. And now let's try to put this, to submerge it and see if there are any bubbles coming out of it. It looks okay. There can be some air stuck on the outside of the tire, but when you move it off those bubbles with your finger, just watch for some new bubbles emerging on the tire and see if it is leaking on the place that you've just patched. Also inspect for some other holes, if it has some other holes. I don't see any air coming out, so I think this patch is okay. You don't have to always test it on the water. This is just if you want to be on the safe side and you're doing it at home and you've got the time, so it's a good idea. I hope this video has helped you and shown you how to fix or patch a tube, a punctured tube, and do try this at home. I think it's the most reasonable way. I usually carry just three tubes for my bicycle. 2 are installed on the wheels and 1 is a spare, and when I get a puncture, I take the punctured tube out and put the spare one in. Then I patch the punctured tube, and then the patched tube becomes officially a spare tube. It's usually better, even though these patches work after just 5 minutes that is needed for the glue to dry, they are more secure if you leave it overnight. So I usually don't install just a tube that I have just patched right away. I usually do like a rotation, so the patched tube becomes a spare one, and so if I get 2 or more punctures on one ride, then it will come back in play. And that's why it is important to wait for the glue to dry. And I have tested this procedure many times and used tubes that I have just patched, even in cold winter conditions and rainy conditions, and it works. These patches are pretty reliable, and that's it. I don't think it's eco-friendly or reasonable to buy a new tube every time you get a flat. You can just patch it and keep riding. So thanks for watching, and cheers.